Hi, I'm Kyle Randolph. I'm a technical specialist here at JumpCloud in Boulder. Welcome to our onboarding video series.
Today we're going to be talking about using the AD bridge. If you're just tuning in, please check out our video linked below that goes through the installation process of the AD bridge agent on this domain controller. But for today's video, what we're going to be covering is the JumpCloud and JumpCloud admins security groups that we've created here on our domain controller in the previous video. We'll continue to show and discuss user creation in JumpCloud from Active Directory. Then we're going to walk through group creation or replication in JumpCloud from AD. Then we're going to discuss the user activation process in JumpCloud to get the user ready to be associated to resources. And then finally, we're going to go through the process of associating this newly activated user with a remote Mac that we have set up here, as well as showing the ability for this user to sign in to AWS via our SAML SSO. To begin this process, let's take a look at the two groups a little more intimately that we created in the previous video, that being our JumpCloud and JumpCloud admins security groups. The JumpCloud group is the core means that you will be using for syncing users from Active Directory into JumpCloud. Any user or group that you want to sync from AD into JumpCloud must exist in the JumpCloud security group. Another way that you can see this illustrated is I can add the finance group you'll see here into the JumpCloud group. Now, if I expand out the members of my finance group, I also see that I have an accounts payable group. In this case, I don't have to add accounts payable as well to the JumpCloud group, just finance, which will include both the users in our finance group as well as our subsequent members in the accounts payable group. If you'd like a better illustration of this, please look at the graphic that we've provided here. Now, the JumpCloud admin security group is an optional group that allows you to add users. Usually this is used for system administrators. So what you would effectively do is, while you need to add the user to the JumpCloud group to synchronize over from Active Directory into JumpCloud, if you want to make that user an admin for every machine they're associated to in the JumpCloud platform, you would add them as well to the JumpCloud admins group, thereby enabling a switch for the user to make them a global admin, enforcing that whenever they are bound or joined to a machine, they are set with the proper privileges of an administrator or pseudo user, depending on the operating system. Now, let's go ahead and actually dig in and add some users and groups to the JumpCloud security group. So, I'm going to first just take a user that we have here. We'll take Kathleen Yardley, and we're going to add her into the JumpCloud group. And in addition, let's go ahead and proceed up here to our dev group, and we're going to also add them to the JumpCloud group. Now, let's segue over to our JumpCloud admin console. And a couple of things you'll note that I've done since the last video is I installed a JumpCloud agent on my Mac endpoint. In addition, I've configured SSO with AWS. So a little further on, we're actually going to show some pretty cool associations being made for those users from AD into JumpCloud. Now, as I navigate back up to users, we can see that we have our user Kathleen added into the JumpCloud console, but we do not yet have our dev team. So what's going on here? Let's actually talk about that a little further. The AD bridge agent that we installed in the last video on our domain controller has a heartbeat interval of 90 seconds. Effectively, every 90 seconds, this agent is looking for work effectively choosing to replicate users from the domain controller or groups to JumpCloud. So, as I added Kathleen, she was fortunate and caught the first heartbeat interval, and then shortly thereafter, I added the dev team. So we should see those members in the dev team replicated here into JumpCloud, as well as that group presented here momentarily. And we can see now that we have our dev group has been created in JumpCloud. Now this was received just directly through the same JumpCloud group that I noted earlier, and we have our dev security group with our dev members. Further, if I pull open the aside for our dev group, we can see those two users reflected here, in this case Carmel and Mark. While Kathleen, who was added to the JumpCloud group as an individual, is not in this group. Further, as I navigate back to users, I can see that all three of these users are in an inactive state. So let's take our user Mark as an example, and let's go through the user activation process. If I go to my Mac that Mark will subsequently or soon be joined to, or our dev team more accurately will be joined to, we can see in Mark's email, he has a new email from JumpCloud. Let's pull that open and take a look. We can see that this user has been added via our JumpCloud's AD bridge. And further, this provides Mark some good information to have as it pertains to JumpCloud's integration with the AD bridge. In this case, it's important to note that to activate his account and to start using JumpCloud, he will need to reset his password on a domain-controlled workstation or from any resource connected to AD, allowing for password resets. And that is to allow JumpCloud to receive the newly set password hash to activate his account. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just proceed to the domain controller itself to change Mark's password. One other thing to note here is that you do need to update the user's passwords currently, but if I were to create a new user after installing the AD Bridge agent, they will actually be activated as we've received their current password hash via the AD Bridge agent. So let's continue. I'm going to select OK. We can see the password has been changed for Mark. So let's navigate back over to the JumpCloud console. And we can see now that his status has changed from an inactive state, as we see with both Kathleen and Carmel, to a green state indicating that they are active. So let's take a look at a couple more pieces here. What we want to do now with this activated user is add him to a few resources. In this case, I have a group of systems, and in this group of systems, I have my Mac. In addition, I want to add our dev team to have SSO access into AWS. So in applications, I'm going to select AWS. And in system groups, I'm going to select that group of systems that contains my Mac endpoint. Now, while I am showing this process here directly via our system groups, you can also do a one-to-one association directly under users or systems by pulling open the systems aside and selecting users. As you can see here, I can associate Kathleen. Or from the user's perspective, I can also associate Kathleen to the system. So let's just keep it centric to the dev team for this video. So let's go ahead and ensure that those two pieces have saved. And let's take a look at our user Mark. With an active user account in JumpCloud, Mark is now ready to access the JumpCloud user console. He's going to enter in his credentials that he specified on the domain controller and sign in. Now this is the cool piece where Mark is now able to access AWS using JumpCloud's SAML-based SSO. Further, as I select AWS for this user, we can see that he is provided access into Amazon Web Services with the subsequent policies that has been provided for the role I created to facilitate this interaction. In addition, if we pull open System Preferences, we can see that Mark has now been created on this machine. So I can sign out of my service account that I've created here with the name Kyle and sign in now using the very same credentials that Mark entered on the domain controller just a moment ago. Now, it's important to note that while I'm showing this for our remote user Mark on a Mac endpoint, JumpCloud is device agnostic. So you could make the very same associations with a remote Windows machine or Linux servers in the cloud. And for both of those pieces, please check out the videos that we have linked below to take a better look at what that process looks like. In addition, you'll see that I am creating a new account for Mark on this machine. But JumpCloud can also allow you to take over an existing account simply by matching the username on the machine with their username in JumpCloud. So in this case, if I had a user on my Mac with a username of mshortridge, instead of creating this new user account for Mark, we actually would have taken over his existing account, making that JumpCloud managed, ultimately using Active Directory credentials. So to recap, we've gone through the JumpCloud and JumpCloud admin security groups, created users as well as groups in JumpCloud from AD via the AD Bridge agent, activated the user to prepare them to be added to subsequent resources, in this case, our remote Mac endpoint, as well as providing one-click access into AWS. Thank you.
If you'd like to learn more about this topic, please navigate to our knowledge base at support.jumpcloud.com. Or if you'd like to speak to a member of our team about our platform, please email us at customersuccess@jumpcloud.com. Otherwise, subscribe below to stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you.